What's up, you guys? My name's Childish, and I love playing Elder Scrolls Online. I've invested 1,000 hours into just Steam alone. I've invested probably somewhere around 300 to 400 hours on Xbox, and easily somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 hours on PlayStation. That's originally where I started playing a couple years ago, and I played on PlayStation for about 7 years. Every year, I always come back to Elder Scrolls Online and dump a few hundred hours into the game. I'm not lying, it's genuinely my favorite video game. No matter what else I'm playing at the time, no matter how busy life gets, I always end up coming back to ESO. I love logging in, picking a zone that I somehow haven't finished after all these years, running through quests that I skipped years ago, hopping into a few dungeons, and tweaking the builds that I've been refining for literal years now. There's just something super comforting about ESO to me. And that's why this video is not coming from a place of hate, it's coming from a place of frustration. Because every year, my enjoyment for this game stagnates. Not because I'm burnt out or because I suddenly stopped liking MMOs. I actually have a series on this channel where I'm going through and playing all sorts of other MMOs that I've never played before. But because ESO feels like a game that refuses to evolve in meaningful ways. Every year, I hit the same wall with the lack of difficulty, the lack of real build diversity, and the biggest problem of all, the lack of innovation. Hey guys, so I shot this video during the holiday season and I'm recording this part a couple days before this video is going up. And I just wanted to address the fact that the devs just announced the new update coming out and it addresses some of the problems that I have and that I'm talking about in this video. They don't address everything that I had a problem with, and I think the problems that I have that weren't addressed are still valid, so the rest of this video still holds up, I think. But with the new update being announced, I am excited to see the harder difficulty that you can get in overland content and all the other things that they've announced for the Dragon Knight. Anyway, I just wanted to give an explanation for continuity's sake. Enjoy the rest of the video. To me, ESO has all of the ingredients to be one of the greatest MMOs ever made. The world is incredible, the lore is deep, and the combat system is fun, but it constantly feels like the game is being held back. Held back by safe design, by systems that look good in patch notes, but fall apart in practice. And honestly, held back by devs who seem completely disconnected by what veteran players actually want out of this game. Over the last few years, ESO has gone down a direction that I and a lot of other players just aren't happy with anymore. We've had expansion after expansion that look good on the surface, but once the honeymoon phase wears off, it's the same story every time. The stories are good, a lot of times even great, but they rarely feel impactful. And that's coming from somebody who in previous videos said that ESO has the best stories out of any MMO in my personal opinion. But zones just feel like theme parks rather than living parts of Tamriel. And new features often feel half-baked or just abandoned a year later. Like, what happened to getting more grimoires? I just feel like there's this massive disconnect between what we the players are asking for and what we're actually receiving. People want more challenging content, meaningful progression, a stronger class identity, and systems that reward long-term investment. Instead, I feel like we're getting more systems that just flatten the experience. And that just brings me to subclassing. When subclassing was first announced, I was actually really excited. On paper, this sounds amazing. ESO always pushes the mantra of play the way you want. Subclassing feels like the ultimate expression of that philosophy. It felt very Skyrim being able to use two spells that you wouldn't normally see together. At first, I thought it was one of the coolest additions that the game had made in years. But over time, my opinion on it has completely changed. The more I began to play with subclassing, the more something felt off to me. I don't think that subclassing has enhanced player choice. I feel like it's compressed it. Now, I just want to be clear, I play ESO pretty casually these days. I'm not out here trying to min-max my builds anymore or squeeze out every possible percentage of DPS I possibly can. But even as a casual player, I can see there's very little diversity at the top. And why would that be? If one skill does better than another, people are going to use that skill. If a specific subclass combination is the most optimal, then why wouldn't everyone just be using the most optimal setup possible? So when the meta shifts, it doesn't create variety. It just causes a mass migration to the exact same builds, copy and paste of everything. Subclassing gives the illusion of choice, but in reality, it just funnels players to fewer viable options than ever before. Subclassing also makes a massive barrier to entry for new players. ESO is already a very complicated game to understand. I mean, you've got champion points, gear sets, traits, enchantments, Mundus stones, skill morphs, companions. And now on top of that, you're expecting new players to understand multiple class skill lines at once. It's just overwhelming, especially to a player who probably doesn't even know if they like the class that they're playing right now or not. Instead of easing new players into the game, subclassing just drops them into the deep end. And if they don't know what to pick or don't like what they pick, they'll end up feeling weak or just outright quit. And now the biggest issue for me is that subclassing completely feels like it destroys any class identity. Characters no longer feel like Dragon Knights, Sorcerers, and Nightblades. They feel almost like a pile of skills just duct taped together. At first I thought this was unique, but over time it just feels hollow, man. And as someone who loves lore and role-playing, this just actively kills the fun. It makes your character stop feeling like a character, and it just starts to feel like a spreadsheet. And even worse, if you choose not to subclass, you feel like you're being punished for it. Your build will feel weaker, less efficient, and just suboptimal. So even players who just want to play one class are kind of pressed to subclass. And at this point, I think we're in too deep. I don't think ESO can undo subclassing. I think that ship has sailed, and the real question is, what can the devs do now? I think the answer is simple. They need to reward commitment. If a character chooses to fully invest into one class, that should be rewarded. It should matter. They need to give non-subclass builds a buff. Make it feel like you're mastering the class, not holding yourself back. And I think there's even ways around everybody using the same subclass builds. So like I said, they could add bonuses to people who want to stick with the one class, but they could also create synergies between two skill lines amongst the different classes. I think they could even go as far as rewarding thematic builds instead of punishing them. I think if they decided to make some or all of these decisions, it would restore class identity and choice. Now, in conclusion, I make this video because I love ESO. If I truly didn't care, I wouldn't be talking about it. I think this game still has so much potential to it, but right now I feel like it's afraid to commit to one thing, and ESO doesn't need more systems. It needs stronger foundations. But until then, I'll still be here. I'll still be logging in, still dumping hundreds of hours into Tamriel. I just hope someday it meets the potential that I know it has.